Imagine yourself sitting in the front carriage of a roller coaster. You're buzzing with excitement and you can't wait for it to start. You've never been, and you've heard about how exciting it is, but you're still nervous because you don't know what to expect. Suddenly, the carriage jolts and you're gradually climbing higher and higher. Just before you get to the top, the carriage stops. A pause. And then you start to drop. This is what I'm sure a lot of students feel once they've graduated high school, about to embark on the roller coaster ride into the real world. Being right at the top of the track, about to shoot downwards, is exhilarating, but also terrifying. Whether it's starting university, a new job, or going on a gap year, all of us were looking forward to being swept up by the roller coaster ride. Personally, I was about to start a new journey moving from Australia, my home for all my life, halfway across the world to the UK to study at the University of Cambridge. I knew it was going to be very challenging, but little did I know what a transformative experience it would be. You might be expecting me to talk about the importance of connecting to others and maintaining relationships with people back home, and this is important. However, I'm emphasizing the importance of reflecting and connecting to yourself, your emotions, your vulnerabilities, and your concerns before connecting to others. I was so excited to study overseas. It would mean independence, a fresh new start, and maybe a chance to learn a proper British accent. I had romantic ideals of walking through cobbled streets, past grand sandstone buildings, and cycling through this beautiful town. But it also meant leaving stability and familiarity. And then the pandemic hit. Many of the amazing opportunities at the start of the roller coaster ride, which we were all looking forward to, were lost. Holidays and trips were cancelled, classes moved online, socializing was limited. COVID-19 dampened our excitement, and it became an emotionally straining and difficult time. All of my learning was moved online, but I still wanted to make the most of the situation when I arrived. I was swept along the roller coaster ride, playing pool and meeting students across the college, getting involved in societies, really loving what I was learning, enjoying late night chats with my flatmates, and repeatedly telling people, yes, I'm Australian. No, I don't have a pet kangaroo. Standing out from the other British students really made me appreciate my own background, knowing that I'm still somehow connected to home. However, when lockdown hit halfway through first term, it was a sudden anticlimactic end. Everyone retreated into their rooms and the town fell silent. Any classes or social events were cancelled. It was difficult to manage the reality of missing out on these pivotal moments of university, given the expectations of what they should have been. The first 2 months became the most emotional and difficult I've ever experienced in my life. I felt like I was strapped to the eternal roller coaster, rushing upwards and suddenly dropping down before I even had a chance to catch my breath. I was left exhausted, low, frustrated, and not knowing what would happen next. COVID-19 has undoubtedly disrupted every part of society, and we've had to adjust how we live. There has unfortunately been higher levels of depression and anxiety, as well as lower psychological well-being associated with job loss, financial distress, and overall work and social impairment. 73% of students in the UK said their mental health declined during lockdown. Humans are inherently social creatures who want to be in close proximity to each other. So breaking these connections makes us lonely. Losing connections with a wider social group actually increases the chance of depression, high blood pressure, and even death from heart disease. There's also the conflicting mindset of understanding the broader societal concerns of obeying the law, but wanting to go out and retain some sense of normality. The Christmas break was my first opportunity to really pause, step back, and connect to myself. It was lonely sometimes when people left after first term for the break, but I want to challenge the notion of being alone as an inherently negative experience. It was so good to be able to finally have a clean kitchen and be able to dance in the hallways whenever I felt like it. But also, it was an incredibly valuable time for reflection on the really hard times I had experienced. Making the most of the situation, I explored Cambridge on walks while listening to music and podcasts. I FaceTimed friends and family to stay connected, and I spent Christmas Eve and Day with other Australian first years and postgrad students in my college. Most significantly, I stopped to consider the roller coaster of emotions I had experienced in first term. Connecting with others is so important, but to do so, one must first connect to yourself. I realized through reflection that to me, fulfillment is better than chasing happiness. To me, it looks like working hard academically, getting involved in activities and societies, making genuine connections with people, and occasionally stepping back to consider what went well and what I can do better. I'm currently in my Easter break. Having just finished second term, I am proud to look back and say that I have been much better at balancing my life. I've been able to study in the library, I've set aside more quality time with flatmates to bake, and I've been more open with myself to really examine how I am feeling. Life is constantly going up and down on this roller coaster, and it can be so tiring and draining. There may be particularly low points, and it is easy to become preoccupied with external worries, but sometimes you need to create distance. Allow alone time to work on yourself. When you are the best version of yourself, you are in the best place to connect with others through openness and honesty. It's not easy being vulnerable. I've learned a lot from moving overseas in the middle of a pandemic. I've learned to let my vulnerability inspire me rather than scare me. I've learned that my emotions are valid and that feeling these things is what makes me human. I've learned that it is terrifying, but so fulfilling when you take the chance to courage with yourself. Remember that we will get off this roller coaster ride at some point. The truth is, we have no idea what twist or turn is ahead, and it's scary. But we can't change that. Instead, we should take time to find comfort in the discomfort. Deeply understand and connect with your own emotions, motivations, fears, beliefs, and values. Be grateful for the difficult situations that have made you stronger and reflect on what you have learned. We must connect with ourselves before we connect to the world. Our emotions and moods will inevitably ebb and flow, so it is up to us to be courageous and hold on to our roller coaster of emotions to empower ourselves. Don't feel as though you are just waiting to finally reach some light at the end of the track, but instead, become that light by trying to understand what makes you feel the most fulfilled. During the ride, we may be so busy looking forwards, anticipating the next moment. But it is when we stop, connect with ourselves, and look back, will we see all the highs and lows that made us get on this ride in the first place.